Greetings, fellow traders. Thank you for being here today. Today, we're going over the US30 index and the 4 best times of the day to trade it, as well as a simple strategy to use. So as long as you understand how to read supply and demand, support and resistance, and just like basic price action and being able to read candles, then you're going to love this nice little strategy that I'm about to share with you guys. And even if you're new to trading, I'm going to kind of briefly discuss it, but if you really want to know how to trade, make sure you check out my website and join my Forex program. And I have lots of great cheat sheets and helpful resources that you can use as part of your trading plans. I have a cheat sheet just like the one like this. And as you can see, it's very straightforward. And inside my Forex program, I have lots of notes just like this one that you guys can use to make your trading much easier. All right, with that being said, let's get into it. So, the 4 best times of the day to trade US30 is going to be on the New York Eastern time zone in the US, and that's going to be 8:30 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 12 to 1, and then you have 3 p.m. as the 4 best times to trade this currency pair. And I am going to show you guys why this is so effective. All right, so let's first start with the time at 8:30. So you can see on the bottom right here, you can see what time it is. And we're just gonna roughly go through the different time zones are the times of the day. And it's very amazing how this works. I, for one, stayed away from US30 just because the moves seemed very random. And because the moves were so big, I always felt like it was extremely risky until I learned this nice little strategy I'm going to share with you guys. All right. So as you can see here, this is let me change to the 15-minute chart. So that's also very important when it comes to US30. My recommendation is to trade off of the 15-minute time frame. And that's because of the times of the day that this is most effective. So if you trade like on the hour time frame, for example, you're going to miss a lot of important information on the candles. And then you're going to miss your entries if you trade this on the 1 hour time frame. It is kind of popular to trade US30 off of the 5-minute time frame. So technically you can use that time frame, but I find the 15-minute time frame is perfect as well. All right, so let's go to 8:30. All right, so this candle is a candle for 8:30. Now, one thing I want to point out, if you don't see clear patterns or clear confirmations for the setup, then wait until like 9:30. If you don't see something solid at 9:30, then wait until like 12 to 1. And usually every day you're going to see solid setups. So some of these setups are some of the patterns that you see with US30 are not as clear as others. So depending on your skill level as a trader, then I strongly recommend that you stay away from the sketchy stuff. All right, so I'm gonna first kind of just go over my setup right here. I have Bollinger Bands, and I have the new Stochastic Momentum Index indicator that I use. This is a new indicator from TradingView. It's supposed to be an upgrade from the stochastic indicator, and so far, I think it's very effective and it's working pretty well for me. So I am keeping this upgraded version of stochastic. And you need a indicator that's going to show you momentum. So whether you use CCI or RSI or stochastic, whatever oscillator you use, make sure you are factoring in the strength of the momentum of the currency pairs that you're trading. All right. So this right here is 830. Now, for those of you who don't know how to read candles, I definitely recommend taking some time to do that. I also teach my students how to read candles as well. But the bottom part of the candle represents your demand, and the top of the candle represents supply. And then the body of the candle just represents kind of the volume. So if you've been trading for a while, you can kind of see that this is a engulfing candle. You can also see that there is more demand than there is supply. And this candle is telling you that this is very bullish and we have more buyers or we have more demand um, for the price to keep going up than we do have supply. So even if I wasn't reading are using the Bollinger Band indicator, I could read this candle and have a very good idea as to what is happening. One of the reasons why I use Bollinger Bands is because it's the easiest way to identify price action. So that's one of the first things I teach my students to use because Bollinger Bands tell you so much information and they're very easy to use as well. This yellow band in the middle, this represents the value. So if the candles are above this middle band, then that's telling you that the real value of the price is actually higher. So if we look at this at 830, we can see that, okay, there's more demand than there is supply. We can also see that the value is actually higher because the candle is above the middle band. So this tells us that we should buy. Okay. Now, I like placing my trade on the next candle at 845. So typically what you should see on the US30 is the price will fall back to either the support or resistance area. So normally what had happened is at 845, uh, this candle would be right around the same lowest point of the candle at 830, and then you would want to buy there. But in this case, that didn't happen. So there really wasn't a pullback in this situation. So if you were going to trade at this time, then you would have had to factor in the strength of the momentum and the fact that the candle was above the middle band, and then you could have placed a trade here. So when you see this resistance, resistance is only valid if it's a high supply zone. So if you see here, so you can see here the price went to this level, came down, and then you can also see, it touched this resistance line several times and the price kept going down. But if you're looking at these candles, what you are not noticing is that um, there's no supply zone. So like this right here is kind of like the supply, but it's very small in comparison to the demand. So even though we do have some supply um, at this resistance area, because the demand is greater, then this supply doesn't matter. Now, the following candle, we have a huge supply zone, and it does look greater than the demand. But the problem is the actual value of the price is still above this middle band, which means it's not time to sell just yet. So in that case, we would avoid it. We would avoid trading during that time period. Now, also keep in mind, the next session or time that we want to look at is going to be 9:30. So if we just back up for just a second, if you place a trade here, you would have easily made 50 to 100 pips, or you could have let it ride if you have time to watch it. and you'd be set. All right. So if you wake up too late, or if you're working or whatever the case may be, and you miss the 8:30 time, then the next best time to trade this currency or this asset or index is going to be at 9:30. So if we look at 9:30, uh, so what do we see here? We see that the value of the price is still higher. We see that the demand is still higher. Technically, there's a higher supply, but when we factor in how strong this momentum is, we can still technically keep buying at 9:30. But I like waiting to make my trade on the very next candle. And you can see here, the next candle opened at this price. So in this situation, because the candles are above the middle band, because the momentum is still super strong, we would still buy. So if you bought this at 8:30 or 8:45, you could either close and take your profit and place a new entry, um, and you can make your decisions that way. And you can see here, had you placed a buy anywhere between here, these two areas, then again, you would have easily made 50 to 100 pips, or actually more than 100 pips, if you would have done that. So the next best time to trade this currency pair is going to be between 12 noon and 1, yeah, 12 noon and 1 p.m. So because this is an index and you have stock traders, most stock traders start leaving the market around 12 noon. So you have a drop in volume usually around the noon. But because US30 is very popular among Forex traders, we still have big volumes that are able to keep pushing this price. So let's look at what happens at 12. So I think 12 is still a little too risky to place the trade. This is why the block from 12 to 1 p.m. I'm looking to place my trades somewhere around 12:45, closer to 1. So in this situation, we can kind of see that this is starting to look like a resistance area. And we can tell because let's just look at these candles, for example, for a second. Uh, we can see here that these three candles have more supply than these two candles here. So this supply is greater than this demand, which is telling us that the price is actually going to drop. So this red engulfing candle makes a lot of sense based off of what we're seeing here. And this is also another reason why I like trading US30, because the volumes are so big. The data makes a lot of sense when it candles. A lot of times when you're trading like gold or like any or like I shouldn't say any, but most forex pairs, a lot of times the candles don't always cooperate, but US30 they do. So because we see that there's more supply than there is demand, then we understand why this candle happened. So I still think 12 is too early to place a trade. So I'm going to watch it from 12 to 1. And then I'm going to look to place a trade around 12:45, 1 p.m. All right, so now let's just look at it from this perspective. In this situation right here, it's kind of confusing. So in a situation like this, I personally wouldn't place a trade because you have arguments for both. If we look at the stochastic, we can still see that there is some strong bearish momentum. So I don't want to have to stare at the chart all day and watch the price. So in a situation like this, I don't want to sit here until I start to see, okay, well, you know what? Now it's finally, 2 o'clock and now things is finally shaping up. So this is why I use my trading plan so that I have time to step away from the charts and go about my day and do things. Otherwise, you won't have a life if you don't have a trading plan. All right, so in this situation, I would have skipped out any trades from 12:45 or 12 to 1. And the next best time to look at trades is usually around 3 o'clock. So now let's look at this. All right, so at 3 o'clock, um, we're looking for a confirmation of the trend. So first we look for resistance or support. So if you look at it from from this standpoint right here, technically you see a strong resistance area. But there's not enough information for you to trade off of support and resistance alone. You're going to have to use other clues. So if you're looking at the stochastic, look at how beautiful this is. So at 3 o'clock, the stochastic triggered a buy signal. So when it comes to the stochastic momentum index, you want the price to be above 40, and that represents a bullish momentum or confirmation of bullish momentum. So the stochastic is saying buy. And then if we look at the middle band with the Bollinger Bands, we can also see that the real price is actually much higher. So we would look at it at 3, and then we would place our trade at 3:15. So this right here is the opening of the candle. And you can see just how small this pullback was. I mean, it was hardly anything. It was hardly anything. So we would have placed our trade somewhere between here and here. And again, this would have been a super solid trade. You would have made, 60 pips or so in just like, 15 minutes, right? And that's why I like trading US30, because you don't have to hold on to trades for long periods of times. You can typically make with this trading plan that I'm sharing with you guys about 50 to 100 pips in 15 minutes. So, you can watch it for 15 minutes and then close your trade, or you can write it out if you have time to watch it. So typically my recommendation is to close your trades by 3:45. And you can kind of see here, if you had followed that, you would have closed your trades around here. And then technically if you still wanted to keep the ball rolling, then you could have placed some sales. But I really caution traders on trying to milk the market for every single pip, because it's very easy to not have a life with Forex if you are constantly staring at the charts all day. So with my little trading plan I'm sharing with you guys, you have more time in your day. You don't have to spend all day looking at charts. You don't need signals or anything. You just have to be able to read support and resistance, supply and demand, and have some way to measure momentum. And you guys will be fine. And you can easily make, 500 to 1,000 pips a day with US30, especially if you want to add more positions. And also look at another example here. If you were using my strategy here, you would have looked at the chart around 8:30, and you can kind of see this is a super solid setup. And right here, you would have placed a trade at 8:45. This is a strong resistance area. So, anytime the price touches the same spot, you want to place your trade as close as possible. So because these candles is lower than these candles, then this resistance is kind of confirmed. And then if we look at the stochastic, we can see that the stochastic is diving down, which is also a great indicator that the price is going to go down. And you would have been fine here. You would have easily made your 50 to 100 pips and then kept it moving. And then let's look at 9:30. All right, so this is another great setup right here. So you would have placed a trade you would have looked at the chart at 9:30. And in this case, the momentum is still super strong. So this is why at 9:30, check for a trend continuation. So if you don't want to use like 50 to 100 pips as your take profits, then you can leave your take profit open if you have time to watch. If you don't have time to watch because you're working and maybe you're trading um, in between calls at your job or something like that, then just stick to 50 to 100 pips for your take profits. But if you do have time to actually watch it, I recommend just keeping that take profit open. And then you would see at 9:30 is you're going to have a trend continuation because the stochastic is still showing strong bearish momentum. And you can also see here that the candles are below the middle band. So everything is just saying that this is going to be a downtrend. And then once you start seeing this demand start to build up, go ahead and close those cells. And even if you were using 50 to 100 pips, your trades would have already hit their take profit anyway. So it's super low risk. And let's just look at 12:45. All right. Yeah, so yeah, between 12 and 1. So as like I mentioned earlier, technically you could have placed a sell here, but the problem with that is if you look at the stochastic is still showing some bullish momentum. Also, the candles are above the middle band. So it looks like there's still some bullish momentum going on. So 12 o'clock is still a little too early to place your trade. 12:15 is still a little too early. But now look at what's happened here. So the price opened right here. So this right here is what we're looking at. This is right here an ideal situation, by the way. Because in this situation, um, the price hit the same zone 2 times. And then we can see here between 12:45 and 1 that this is a solid area of resistance. And you would go ahead and place a sell right here because on this candle, on this red candle, it touched the same area as the green candle in front of it. So, and then of course, if you're looking at the stochastic indicator, you can see that the bearish momentum is about to drop, and you would have crushed 50 to 100 pips easily, and you could have actually kept this trade going even until all the way to 3 o'clock if you wanted to. So, in a nutshell, I strongly recommend you guys try this strategy out and make sure you stick to the 4 best times to trade it. And I think you guys will do very well. If you have any questions, make sure you ask them in the comments. Check out my website. And thank you for watching this video. Have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.